one issue to his benefit among all others, and that is the economy. Only today, he got the economic news that he wanted to avoid most.
Oh my goodness, up 0.9%, up 0.9. And if you strip out food and energy, guess what? It's still up 0.9. Boy, that equals June of 22. You're to March of 22 on the headline to find a bigger number. On the core number, that would comp to March of 22, since we've had a number of that magnitude when it was 1.2%. These are kind of COVID distorted numbers. Now, let's look at ex-food, energy, and trade. Triple the expectations. All three of those were expected to be up 0.2. This is up 0.6. 0.6 would be the highest level since March of 22 when it was 0.9. Now, let's go year over year. These are warm too. 3.7, excuse me, I'm getting ahead of myself. Final demand year over year is 3.3. We're expecting 2.5. Now, 3.3, that would be the highest since February. The high water mark was January this year at 3.8. Now, 2.8 is ex-food, energy, and trade. That is definitely higher than 2.5 expected. 2.8 will be the highest since March. And right in the middle there, we have X just food and energy. That number coming in at 3.7. I kept it for last because that really is a very, very large number. 3.7, that would be the largest since March when it was 3.9. So we see every single metric is warmer than expected. Every single metric is significantly higher sequentially.
And just in case you're waiting to see how right-wing media is going to spin this, it doesn't look like they're capable of spinning it at all.
A spike in the producer price level of inflation. Take a look. Markets are selling off here because the July PPI came in up 0.9%. Worse than the estimated up 0.2%. This is the headline number. It was expected up 0.2, came up 0.9%. Year over year, it is up 3.3% versus an estimate of up 2.5%. Now, when you look at core, it's also troubling because in the core PPI, it was up 0.9% versus an estimate of 0.2%. Year over year, the core up 3.7%, also higher than the estimated expectation, which was up 2.9%. These numbers have caused markets to drop.
And why is this so important? Because Donald Trump quite literally won the 2024 election, in large part due to the devastating impacts of inflation.
Starting on day one, we will end inflation.
We will end inflation and we will make America affordable again.
We're ending the inflation nightmare, the worst that we've had probably in the history of our country.
We have inflation under control perfectly. You probably saw the records. Everyone's on television saying, what's going on here? Trump has proven to be right. Actually, today when the numbers came out, they were so good. You saw yesterday's numbers, incredible. No inflation.
And yet now, far from bringing inflation down, he's not only watching inflation rise, but he's actually causing it to rise. Let's be clear, Trump's trade war is inherently inflationary. When he imposes tariffs on goods coming into the United States, those tariffs are paid not by foreign countries, but on the importing company. And of course, companies aren't just going to eat those costs. Many companies already have razor-thin margins to begin with, meaning they pass those increased costs on to consumers, which is exactly what's happening right now. And American consumers clearly are noticing.
Look, voters on Trump and inflation. He won the 2024 election because he was more entrusted on inflation than Kamala Harris was, led by a margin of 9 points. Look at where his net approval stands today, though, on inflation. My goodness gracious. Into the gutter we go, underwater we go. He's 25 points underwater. My goodness gracious. That is where the Little Mermaid is, and he is matching the Little Mermaid. That's how far underwater he is on the issue that got him elected. He led on by 9 points on it last year, and now he's 25 points underwater. As I said, this is a complete and total disaster for the President of the United States.
So let's look ahead to 2026 when a lot of all the House Republicans, some senators going to be on the ballot. How is that shaping?
Yeah, if Republicans in Congress think that they can escape the wrath of the voters when it comes to inflation, I have a bit of a rude awakening for them. Trust which party more on inflation? You go back to the 2022 midterms, look at this. Republicans led by 13 points on which party was more trusted in inflation. Look at where we are now. Nearly a 15-point shift in the Democrats' direction. It's within the margin of error, but the Democrats up by a point. This just looks totally different from where we were back in 2022 when, of course, Republicans took back the House. That's what Democrats are trying to do this time around, looking much better for them. The bottom line is the wrath that the voters feel for Donald Trump and inflation is transferring over to House Republicans and now Democrats, although it's a small lead, a big difference from where we were back in October of 2022, with Democrats actually in the positive and Republicans in the negative. Very much the reverse of where we were just 3 years ago.
Yeah, and so how do voters feel about inflation in terms of where it ranks, what kind of priority it is for them?
Right. So we started off this segment by saying that inflation was the reason that Donald Trump was elected. It was the most important issue for the voters back last year at this point. And look at where we are today. What is the top issue for you right now? It's a runaway. It's inflation. It's 34% compared to the economy, which is basically very similar at 16%, Medicare and Social Security at 14%. But the bottom line is voters in poll after poll after poll say that Donald Trump has taken his eye off the ball, off the big issue of the day, which is inflation, and that is why Donald Trump is way underwater on this issue.
And of course, Trump is well aware of the devastating impacts of high inflation, which is why he's jumping right into the full-throated gaslighting.
We're also fighting the menace of inflation to make life more affordable for American seniors, and we've ended Biden's inflation nightmare. So we had the worst inflation in the history of our country, and now our inflation is down to a perfect number, a beautiful number, hardly any at all. And yet our country is taking in tens of billions of dollars and trillions of dollars, actually trillions of dollars in tariffs. And you know all about it.
So inflation rises from 2.3% in April to 2.4% in May to 2.7% in June and continues rising into July, and somehow that's, quote, the perfect number? I guess inflation is bad when it happens at the hands of a Democrat and good when it happens at the hands of a Republican, huh? But here's what Trump isn't taking into account, and it's the same issue that plagued Joe Biden and the Democrats. You can tell people that they're not paying more until you're blue in the face, but people know if they are paying more. Trump's gaslighting and wish casting is not going to change the fact that groceries are more expensive, goods are more expensive, materials are more expensive, which again would be bad enough unto itself, but the fact that Trump literally campaigned on bringing costs down goes to show that he was always manipulating his supporters from the start. It was never about lowering costs. It was always about consolidating power by any means necessary. And so he said what he always needed to say, just like he always says what he needs to say. He promises low costs and low inflation and ending wars and free IVF and no changes to Medicaid and releasing the Epstein files. He lied about literally all of it. He says what people want to hear and then abandons them the moment he doesn't need anything from them anymore. And the rest of the GOP sits idly by while it happens. This is a party that does not give a shit about the American people, but are instead focused solely on rewarding themselves with power. And the people paying the prices, literally, are all of us. Before you go, if you enjoyed this content and you want to see more and support independent media, please subscribe to this channel. The subscribe button will be right here on the screen. But second, the reality is that we are now in a political environment where this administration can lean on any of the social media platforms to suppress certain voices if they don't like critical coverage. That means my longevity here is in the hands of a few tech billionaires who are already making it clear that they are willing to cater to this administration. To that end, signing up for my newsletter is a way for me to reach you directly if that ever becomes necessary. I'll put the link right here on the screen as well, so please sign up. It's free, but there's also an option to do a paid subscription if you'd like to support me and my team. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much.